Hey everyone, these are the instructions for creating your own map for Activity 421, Mapping Innovation. To determine the best location to source your deep sea sponge sample, you're going to create a map using ArcGIS Online and data gathered from NOAA from the database for deep sea corals and sponges. This little link will bring you to some just additional assistance should you need it as you're creating your map. But we'll start here today by signing into your ArcGIS Online account. You need to use the sign-in information from your school. An account should have been made for you, and you need the login information for that account. So you'll click here on the link for number 5, and it'll bring you to the sign-in page. You'll click here on sign in, and then again, you'll need this information from your school's IT people, and then go ahead and click sign in. And then yours will look like this when you sign in. So you'll have the name of your school on the front page. Eastside High School is where we're at. And then we're going to start from here. So at any point during this tutorial, if you need some extra time, feel free to pause. Yours might go slower than mine depending on your Wi-Fi. So just keep that in mind as well. All right, so I'm going to just run you through step by step. So we have number 5 done. We'll be selecting the Map tab to open a new map. So if we go here, the Map tab is up here at the top. So I'll click on Map. Okay, and then we'll be clicking on the Base Map tool on the left Map Tools panel. And to change the base map, we'll select the Oceans base map from the gallery. So the base map icon looks like this. It's the 4 little squares here. So we'll click on this. And then we'll scroll through the options until we see Oceans. And we'll go ahead and select Oceans. You can see the changes as they're being made here. Now, we need to save our map initially and put some identifying information in when we save it. It's important that you understand that this isn't like a Google app where it's saving automatically. You have to save all the time. So anytime, my little hint to you is anytime there's a folder that has a little blue button here, that means you need to save. You've done something and you need to save your work. And so keep an eye on that and save often. Don't refresh the page or go back or do any of those things, otherwise you might lose your work. So we're going to go ahead and click Save and Open next, and then Save As. And we'll go ahead and type in a title for this map. So I'm going to call mine PBS 4.2.1 Sponge Selection Map, and then I'm going to say I'm going to put my initials first, KC for my initials, and I'm going to put P2 for period 2, KCP2. All right, then in the tag section, you can see here, it says type tags that describe your map. This is my first time doing this, so I'm just going to use the tags that they suggest, so deep sea, sponges, and marine biotechnology. I'll go ahead and Control-C copy these, and then Control-V paste them here, and then you have to push Enter, so then you'll see that those tags come up next. All right, we need to provide a summary that describes the map, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to actually type my same title that we had there, PBS 4.2.1 Sponge Selection Map. And then you don't do anything with the folder thing, and so then we'll click on Save Map. It should be good to go, and you'll notice the blue dot is gone, and then it'll tell us here as it's being saved. Again, for some people, this takes a little longer than others. All right, so you've created a map, but the map's not very useful without additional information. To increase the usefulness of your map, you need to add operational layers. When I look at this, remember I'm using it to select sponges. You can see there's no sponges on the map, so I need to add some information to make it useful. So to add a data layer, this is what we're going to do next. To locate the sources of deep sea sponges, let's add a feature layer, which is an operational layer that someone's created specifically for a purpose to the map. You'll use this data to determine where you can collect a wide variety of sponges, and you'll bring this collection back to the lab where you'll evaluate the anti-cancer properties of their bioactive compounds. So in the map viewer, we're going to click on the Layers tool and add a layer. So the Layers tool looks like this. And then we'll click on Add a Layer. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is from the drop-down, we'll select ArcGIS Online. So instead of My Content here, just click the drop-down, and we'll go down to ArcGIS Online. Okay, and then next in the search box, we're going to type this, Project Lead the Way, Sponge Hunters. I'm just going to copy and paste it, Control C, or Control V, paste it there, and then that comes up, perfect. And so it says to add the map, click the add icon in the bottom right-hand corner of the layer pane. And so when I click here, I'll click on the map itself, and then I'm going to scroll down here. Now, for some people in my class, they had a difficulty finding the add to map button. If that's happening to you, it's just because you're not seeing your whole screen. So adjust your view so that you can see the whole screen. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to the map. And then as you add it to the map, you're going to see that the sponges have showed up here. Now they don't look the same as they did the last time we did this an assignment with the map. So you can see that they're not different shapes or colors. We're gonna have to make some changes to do that for ourselves, but all of the sponges are showing up here on our map. Okay, and then since we've made a change, you can see the little blue dot is there, so we should go ahead and save our map at this point. Make sure we have it ready to go. All right, so each layer in the hosted feature layer contains an attribute table that stores data for that layer. There's fields within the layer that organize the data similar to column headings in a spreadsheet. So the added feature layer contains these 12 fields, which came from the NOAA database. And these are used to describe the sponges. We don't necessarily need all of these pieces of information, but it's available for every sponge. You can scroll through and look at those things that are available. When we looked at the maps before, you saw that there was different types of sponges, and if we clicked on these little dots, different types of sponges would come up. The ones that we are going to be seeing are demo sponges, glass sponges, calcareous sponges, homoscleriform sponges, and unspecified sponges. We're going to have a list of criteria for the sponges that we choose for our selection for our experiment. And so keep these names in mind, like what's available. These are all stored under the vernacular name category field in the pop-ups. So to differentiate the different types of sponges, we're going to change the layer style settings. So the style settings are going to be over here. You can see I have a circle, a square, and a triangle. So I'm going to click on the styles setting here. And then the instructions say select the field option under choose attributes. So here's choose attributes. Here's the field option. I'll go ahead and click on the plus there. And then the one I want to choose is vernacular name category, and then click add. So I'm going to scroll through these. I want to add this one here. I'm going to click on it. The check mark is going to come up. I'm going to say add. All right, so I got those. Now, select the types unique symbols option under try a drawing style heading and change the symbol styles as desired, and then click done when you're finished. So over here where it says pick a style, here's unique symbols. I'm going to click on style options here. I don't know about you, but it's really difficult for me to see these colors on this background, so I'm going to consider changing the colors. And this part is really up to you, like how you would like to change yours. So I don't like this color scheme. It's hard for me to see on the blue ocean background. I'm going to go ahead and click this edit. And then I think I'm going to choose this one right here, Desert Bloom. I like it because the colors are a little darker and I feel like they might be easier for me personally to see. But again, choose whatever you like to see. Okay, in addition to making this change, I can change the shapes of these as well. So I can make this a square. Maybe I'll leave the unspecified sponges a circle. I can make this one a diamond shape, this one a triangle. Maybe I'll leave this one a circle as well. So now that I have them all done, I'm going to click done. And then the changes have been made here. I can zoom in so that I can see them a little bit better here. Okay, and you can see my legend is here as well. Anytime you guys want to see the legend, you would just click on the legend link and then that will show up. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is configure the pop-up boxes to view underlying data for each feature symbol. The pop-ups let you look at a limited number of attributes that you select all the time. At this point, if you click on one of these, sponge shapes, all of the attributes that were listed, the 12, will show up. And so we're going to make some changes to make it more useful for us. So within the layer selected, we're going to click the Configure Pop-ups tool in the right Map Tools panel. So over here, we're going to configure pop-ups. It looks kind of like a settings here. Okay, you want to make sure that the Enable Pop-ups is toggled on. And then to edit the type of pop-up to include the scientific and vernacular names of the organism, you're going to type the following expression for the title. So I'm just going to copy and paste this again, so Control-C. Don't forget to include all of the brackets. And here where it says title, so instead of it saying this is the title, Sponge Hunters Project Lead the Way, I want it to just have the scientific and vernacular names. It'll make it easier when I'm selecting my sponges. So I'm going to delete out what it has here now, and then I'm going to paste this in. You can see it just changed it automatically to the scientific and the vernacular names. So I'm good there. All right, so select attributes to include in your pop-up. So you might want to deselect catalog number, scientific name, and vernacular name from showing in the main body since we have it already at the top. So I'll show you how to do this next. If you click on the dots here, if you click on the name field list here and scroll down, like we don't need the catalog number. We're not really responsible for looking at density. We do want to know how deep they are. We also want their longitude and latitude, but we can get rid of location accuracy. We don't necessarily need to see their observation date or the ocean. We do need to see the oxygen and salinity levels. And we can go ahead and leave scientific and vernacular name there, just in case we need that a little bit later. All right, so we have all of that taken care of, and you can see now our pop-up is exactly how we want our pop-up. All right, so we've done a lot of stuff here. You can see the blue dot is here, so we're going to go ahead and save our map again. Okay, and then we can select several deep sea sponge symbols to check our pop-up configuration and make changes if desired. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So I can see there's kind of some different ones here. Let me click on this one and see what happens. It's perfect. It has all the things that I asked for it to have here. Here's a demo sponge, and you can see its scientific name, salinity, oxygen, latitude, longitude, and how deep it is in meters. All right, so I think we're good there. Now, to assist with your deep sea sponge sampling decision, you can search, add, and configure additional map layers. This is optional, it's not required, but what you would do is go back to the Layers tool and add a layer, and you can select the ArcGIS Online again. So if you wanted to add a layer, we would go over here to the Layers tool, add a layer, and then make sure you're on the drop-down ArcGIS Online. So there's some additional information here that might be helpful to you. So maybe you could search for deep sea sponge layers to add to the map. So I'm just going to copy and paste this and show you how you would do that. Control-C. So in the search, I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to search for layers deep sea sponges. And this one looks pretty good, and it's from NOAA, which is a reputable source. So maybe I want to add this one to my map, and so I can add it to the map, and this is just an additional layer. All right, if I don't want it, if I change my mind, I can just remove it from the map by clicking this button. Some other suggestions of layers to add are deep sea fisheries. Maybe that will help you decide where you would want to select your sponges or source your sponges. You could also search for hawksbill sea turtles, which are consumers of sponges, and that might be interesting as you're doing your selection. So again, don't forget to read about the contents of those layers and use reputable sources as you're adding them. All right, so and at any point you want to see what the things mean, remember you can click the legend button, which is here, and you can see what each of those symbols is representing. All right, so to meet the requirements of your experimental protocol, your sponge sample has to satisfy certain criteria. And here's the sampling criteria. The sampled sponge has to be from one of the 4 specified classes, so we can't use the unspecified class. That's important. And you have to choose 2 sponges, each from a different class. So you can't have 2 glasses or 2 demo sponges. You could have a glass and a demo. And the sponge location has to have a depth of at least 100 meters. The level of dissolved oxygen has to be greater than 0.1 milliliter. And then the ocean salinity has to be less than 35.5 PSU. And then the sampled classes, whatever you choose, have to be within 250 miles of each other. So one way to do this is just to start clicking on these things and looking at each one and then looking back at the criteria to see if it fits the criteria or not. But I think a smarter way to do this is to apply a filter. So to avoid tediously clicking every feature to examine attributes, you can apply a filter. A filter hides certain features on your map, allowing you to search and identify patterns in your map's data through a focused view of your map's feature layer. To highlight sponge locations that meet your criteria, let's filter the deep sea sponge layer database to show only sponges that have been classified into one of the 4 specified classes. So we're going to use the layers tool and make sure we're in the sponge hunters layer. Now I hadn't added any other layers for mine, so that's the one that I'm in. I'm going to click on it and make sure it's viewable. The next thing I'm going to do is click the filter tool, and it's going to be on the right hand side. So filter looks like this. If it's not coming up, it's because you're not in a layer, so keep that in mind. So here I'm in the filter tool. I'm going to click on add an expression. So click on add an expression, and every expression is going to have 3 requirements. So you can see here that the requirements are going to be the field, you'll have an operator, and then a value. So in this case, we're going to start with vernacular name category. So under the drop down here, we're going to change it to vernacular name category, and we'll say replace. And we want the vernacular name category to exclude, that should be the operator. The only one we don't want is the unspecified sponges. We want the other 4 to show up. So we want it to exclude. We'll do the drop down here, click on exclude, and then we have to select the value. The one that we don't want to show up is the unspecified sponge. And so we'll say none, and you'll see all of those went away here. So I'm going to go ahead and click save here, and then you probably guessed it, I want to save my map again over here. All right, everyone, we're doing really well. So you can see we got rid of a whole bunch that are not going to work for us. So now what we're going to do is create additional expressions to meet the other criteria, and you can use this to help you out. So we'll go back here to filter, we'll add an expression, and this time we're going to do depth. And so we want the depth in meters to be at least 100. So we'll go over here, and we're going to do depth in meters. So we'll replace, and we want it to be is at least, and we need 100 here in this section, and then we'll save. And you'll see we're losing some more things here, so we're doing good. I'm going to go ahead and save my map again since I made some changes. All right, so let's add another filter. So I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to add an expression. And this time I'm wanting to add one for oxygen is greater than 0.1. So I do this one here. I'm going to find oxygen, replace. And then I'm going to do is greater than 0.1. Okay, and I'm going to save that. Okay, so I'm doing good here. I'm going to go ahead and save that as well. Okay, then my final filter will be salinity is less than 35.5. So go here, add expression. So I want the salinity replace to be, oh sorry, less than 35.5. It's not greater than, less than 35.5. Save. And now I'm going to save my map again. All right, so now I've added all of the criteria, and so now just the sponges are showing that meet my criteria. So save your filters, save your map. We did all of that. Our filters should be set to match all conditions. Let's just check to make sure that that's the case. Filters, match all conditions, so we're good here, good to go. All right, and then it says use the filter data now to select a sample. Remember the last thing you have to do, the last criteria was that they have to be 250, less than 250 miles apart. So when I'm looking at these, like if I click on this one is a demo sponge. And so maybe that's the one I want to choose. And I'm going to have to describe its location in terms of latitude and longitude. I also want to just make sure it meets the other requirements for oxygen salinity and depth in meters. And then let's say I just want this one over here, which is also a demo sponge. We need a different kind. Demo sponge, let's see. Clicking on all of the same ones, my friends. The glass sponge. So here's a glass sponge. So let's say we're choosing these two. So we have a glass sponge and a demo sponge, but we want to know if they're within 250 miles of one another. That's going to bring us to the measurement tool. And here's the instructions for the measurement tool. It's pretty straightforward, but you'll go over here to map tools where the wrench is, and you're going to do measurement. And then you'll just click and drag. So I said originally this one, and then I'm going to click on the one that I want, and then I'm going to drag to the one that I'm looking at. You can see this is only 43 miles, so that definitely will fit in the calculation that I need. So you can use this tool, and then when you're finished, you can create a new measurement, whatever it is that you need, or get rid of the measurement tool here altogether, and that will help you with your final criteria. At this point, you should be able to record the species name and location information for 2 sponge classes that you're going to be planning on harvesting. You will have to print a screenshot of those pop-up boxes for the samples to verify the criteria has been met, and then you'll be justifying your sample selection. So hope this helped with creating your map. Don't forget, you can save it. And if you decide to come back to your account later, you can click on the 3 little lines on the side here, and then content, and you'll be able to see all of the maps that you ever created, and you'll have access to them here. Hope this helps. Have a great one.